Happy Sundays with Cinnamon.
Sundays with Cinnamon. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm so happy to be here myself. I We're just as close as we used to be, correct?
Yeah, we have a new background because Cinnamon has moved. Yeah, I'm in Grover Beach now instead of Arroyo Grande, and
Just a block from me, a couple
right, and I
blocks.
have larger digs, you know, and it's really fun to have made uh, such a tiny little home. It was a home, and now to have something more expansive is fun again because I've had big, I've had small, now I'm back to bigger, and I love having a kitchen because I'm such a cook at heart, and I learned to work on just a hot plate, which was fun because it was very challenging for one who loves to cook.
You burned yourself twice in that kitchen, didn't you?
With the
The
teapot.
teapot, uh-huh.
Yeah. So I learned the hard way, you might say.
I see the prayer bowl behind you.
There it is. Let's pick somebody right now. Wow. What I do is I let Francesco help me. I have a prayer card of St. Francis, and I let him stir the pot, and then I go in and pick it out. So let's see who we got today. Denise.
She just called me.
Hey, Denise. How lovely. See, energy.
She just called
can
me.
Anyone deny energy? It's all about energy. Which brings me to what I wanted to talk about today, and that is the energy of love being where it seems not to be at times. One of the ways I could exemplify that, which just came to me, I was going to go somewhere else, and what comes to me immediately is Robin. For those of you who know, she was shot by a mentally ill man, and that certainly was love where it certainly seemed not to be. By that I mean, you could say, your kid got shot, how are you saying there's love there? She didn't get killed. She is a hero on many levels for many of us. I, as a parent who am awed by the fact that she chose me as a vehicle, and as just a human being watching her turn this into something so powerful. And she said something the other day to some police folks in Albuquerque. She said a man went out to kill cops, and instead he made us stronger.
Yes, and that's what I wanted you to say.
And that's love where it seems not to be. If you look for love, you will see it everywhere, no matter what's going on. I had a fender bender the other day, and the man, he had this brand new BMW, bless his heart, and we were backing, I was backing out. He says it was all my fault. I thought we were both backing out. Long story short, poor guy was furious, so angry that you thought somebody died. And I asked him to please calm himself down because it sounded like he could have a stroke.
Wow.
And so and my concern for him is what calmed him down. He's still angry. Although I knew. I mean, he is an awakening being. He was forgetting that himself. So I had to remember. I had to know that love is in this, and that if I'm the one that's supposed to be the most loving in this particular situation and bring more love up, then so be it. Love is present, always present. It endures all things and is forever. So look for it.
I speak about this often, and I have this week actually. I did that Rusty Thriving with Rusty radio talk show, and she said, "What message do you want everyone to know about?" And I said, "To please to distinguish the doer from the deed."
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And so that's just another way of saying love where it seems not to be.
Yeah, yeah, and to remember that the more irate someone uh, is displaying their emotion, the more terror is within. Terror of loss, of not enoughness, of lack of abundance, or whatever it is. The more angry they are, that's how terrified they are. So that's what I choose to see when people are wanting to say nasty things or whatever it is their rage is inferring. I I just see with tenderness their fear, because that's all. It's just fear disguised as anger, because often uh, anger seems more powerful than sadness or frustration or whatever it is.
Or vulnerability.
Yeah. So look for love where it seems not to be. You'll find it, because it is. Love is, always is, and is always present and accessible if you're willing to access it. And be the person who is willing to help the angry person access it. They may not, like in this situation with this man who was so angry. He did calm down. He didn't choose love, because then he called me up and said he was going to sue me for everything I was worth and all this stuff. And it was, just a little smidge of a thing. And yet for him it was huge, and so bless his heart.
This comes to a question that Rusty had actually asked me on the talk show, and when I was listening back, I answered it, although I didn't quite finish it. And she was speaking about friends being seasonal, or people that are seasonal in your life, and where I wanted to finish it was, friendships and relationships can change form, and just don't close the door. Because oftentimes that person, when you don't close the door, can come back 20 years later and say, I get you now.
So many times.
I know you have. And so I was bummed because I didn't get to quite, but she's going to have me on again, and I'll probably go back to it because I didn't finish out the whole thought. I just went into distinguishing the doer from the deed. Because that's the first thing you need to do, is see where love doesn't seem to be.
That's right.
In order to keep the door open. So for me, it's about, yes, walking through doors, meeting people that are interested in this path as well. And I love that, because of course we want to meet people that like what we like. I mean, if I play golf, you want to meet people that play golf.
Right.
And you have so helped me see to not go, oh, you have bad energy, or your energy doesn't coincide with mine, and we're done. I love that I met you, Sin, because I don't hear that very often in this
that
world.
You met me too. I love knowing you.
Ditto. So I don't see that very often when I'm watching even Oprah. I'm hearing more, oh, just leave them alone, say sayonara, bye-bye. And
Yeah, because that's how people think they can take care of themselves. They'll be less vulnerable. Vulnerability is
and the word protection,
yeah,
that's a
and
big word.
and all that stuff. Yeah, you want to really embrace your vulnerability. We've said this before, because that is what calls up the wisdom to take better care of yourself. The more vulnerable you are, the better care you can take of yourself. If you're aware and willing to see your vulnerability. If you're not, you take that attitude, you're much more apt to bang into the situations instead of sidestep them or play Aikido with them.
What's your definition of vulnerability?
Knowing well, in my case, personally, it's knowing that my body structure is so fragile, it's good a word as any, because of the damage, the the skeletal damage,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't dare pick up a certain box a certain way, anything that's heavy, or sit slumped over, or so I know how to take care of myself because I have deteriorating discs and bulging discs and arthritic hooks and all of these things that I am vulnerable to. So
Instead of pretending you don't have it and then say, oh, let your ego get in the way. I can do this and
Oh,
I can do
right.
that, and then hurt yourself more.
exactly.
Because
Or,
I think,
or like teaching a child not to run out in the street. I mean, all you have to do is put a tall glass full of water next to a small glass and tip one over and say, this is what occurs when something big hits something little. The little one is vulnerable, so you don't want to go out in the street because you're vulnerable to being hurt if you do that. Instead of, oh, you'll end up in the hospital and don't do it, and I've told you 1,000, you just explain the vulnerability. So you must take care of yourself because you're a little thing and a car is a big thing. And
I think of vulnerability for myself as, just how much I'm putting myself out there in this world and sharing a lot of my personal story. And believe it or not, folks, I don't share everything. Although, I mean, I've got lots more, like all of us do. We've got all sorts of things. And I just say what would serve, what doesn't. And when I put my heart out on a platter, and I could say, oh, let's say I'm addicted to my hair or whatever I'm saying, that's vulnerability because I'm exposing something that I really didn't want people to know about me. And when I do that, I realize what I'm telling them is really about my ego, which isn't really me.
exactly.
So if they want to think that's me, that's okay. That's none of my business. I know I'm exposing the ego.
Yes.
And the more I expose the ego, the less power it has.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's incredible. It's
And-
incredible.
And often, because of the innate goodness of most people, when you expose your egotistical vulnerabilities, they're not as apt to want to
Find it.
touch that. It's like having a button and you say, oh, this is so sore, and if you touch it, it hurts. They're less apt to say, oh, well, let me just touch that and see if it really does hurt. It's not
Yeah,
as
because when we
likely.
pretend that we're all fine and good,
Yeah.
people are really, really, let's poke a little, and not on purpose.
Yeah,
It's this,
yeah. Just to,
really?
They want to...
They want you to
see
admit it. They want you to see it.
Uh-huh. And so when they do then, because there are people that are in such distress that misery likes company, so to speak, then you really can do some work. You can say, wow, it just amazes me that I told you that would be an area of vulnerability, and then you went there. What is that about for you? See, you can still serve. So...
Okay, so we have two people, Sherry Breedlove and Gina King.
Gina, I want to go to Gina King first. There is a sensitivity in you that is your vulnerability. And
Ooh, interesting
I
that we have
want
this
you-
topic.
I know,
This is
and
so
I
great.
really want you to stop seeing that as a minus. That's a plus, honey. And you just realize that any things that have occurred that have not served you are because you have not embraced that sensitivity, that vulnerability, that particular one, and go with it. And you will see that very sensitivity will be your strength.
That will be what she
Really
could actually
important.
help people with.
Oh yeah, help herself first.
Yeah, she's got to, you can only
To
give what you
say
got. You
yes
got to help
to
yourself.
that,
I welcome the
Yeah.
opportunity. So whatever you're speaking about, which you don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but she'll know,
yes,
to actually welcome that as an opportunity to choose love,
even if painful.
even if painful.
Yeah.
Even if painful.
Because it's the resistance to experiencing pain, which is a natural part of life, that takes us to suffering.
And then,
That's
well,
what they
because when we
mean.
resist, what do?
Yeah, Yeah, it persists. You
Well,
recall
and we use
that.
substances and we do things
Right,
to
right.
to not
Well, it's
go through
what
that
they-
pain.
It's that frying pan, which is pain, fire, which is suffering. So you jump from the frying pan into the suffering that you're wanting to avoid. So just
Go
you,
through the
you
pain.
know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, Sherry.
Gina.
I'm sorry, Gina. And you take that and let it flower inside you so that you know even more what I'm talking about. Let us know.
And how about Sherry? Breathe love.
Breed love. Yes. Sherry, what I get is that there's a yearning in you to do somewhat what we're doing, and that is to express love and be more useful in that way in the world. And you're playing small. And so think of your name. Breed love.
Ooh.
Do it.
Breathe some love, baby. I've never even thought of that once
Yeah,
with her name.
bigger, because you're already doing that in your own way. Just be bigger.
Bigger self, not bigger meaning do more per se. It's more be her big self.
Oh,
is
of
what you're
course.
saying. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Happy Sundays with Cinnamon.
So good.
Love
So
you.
Bye.
Bye.